Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another solo edition of the Baby Back Rib Show. And as you can see on the screen today, I'm going to be filling out a March Madness bracket. Now, huge disclaimer, if you are any college basketball program not named the University of Arizona, I have not watched a lot of your season, if any of your season, to be honest with you. So, long story short, I'm a very big casual, I would say, this year for the tournament. But I mean, honestly, that probably gives me a better shot at getting all this right. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna be starting in the East region here, and the first matchup we got here is UConn versus Stetson. Obviously, UConn won the national championship last year, so and I mean they're looking just as dominant this year as they did last year, probably even a little bit better. And I'm gonna have them beating Stetson in the first round here. And yeah. And now after that, we've got FAU and Northwestern. And I'm actually going to go Northwestern for this one. I know FAU, they had an awesome Cinderella type season last year, and they've been looking really solid this year as well. Um, but I don't know. Um, I know I said they look solid, but I think they look a little bit worse than what they did last season, and I don't have a lot of trust in them. So I'm going to pick Northwestern here. But we move on to our third matchup. We got San Diego State versus UAB. I'm gonna go San Diego State. They were in the national championship last year. Still have a great squad. You can look at it here. Um, yeah, and I mean they've had some pretty impressive wins against Gonzaga, New Mexico. So I'm gonna pick them. UAB is always a good sleeper team in these tournaments, but I don't think they're gonna win it here. And now we got Auburn versus Yale, and I'm gonna go Auburn. I think Auburn actually they could be one of those teams that fucks around and wins the national championship, but for now, I'll slow down the brakes on that and just have them beat Yale here in the first round. Now we move to BYU versus. Oh my God, I'm so bad at pronouncing these mid-major schools. But I am going to pick Du Duquesne, Duquesne. That's probably not right, but I'm gonna pick them to win because I think their coach actually is being let go, or I think. Oh no, I don't think. Oh man, I don't remember the story with them, but I do know. I think it's like it's one of the first times they made the tournament in a really long time or something like that. And I don't know. I feel like they're gonna have that Cinderella type vibe going for them. Now, Illinois versus Morehead State. Do love Morehead State. One of those teams that has a really funny name. So I think they're gonna be picked a lot here. But I think for now I'm gonna rock with Illinois. They look solid this year, and I think they'll do just enough to beat Morehead. Now we've got Washington State versus Drake. Washington State looked kind of solid in the Pac-12 this year. I know they had I think a couple of wins over Arizona this season. But Drake, one of those sleeper teams, I'm gonna go with them. And to wrap up the first round in the East region, yeah, we're in the East. I'm gonna go with Iowa State. I think Iowa State's looked really good this year. I think they have one of the better defenses in all of college basketball, if I remember off the top of my head. Yeah. Um, and I think they got a pretty. I mean, they got a somewhat difficult draw here against South Dakota. They're always kind of a sleeper team, but I think that Iowa State's really gonna lock them down and get a win here in the first round. But now we move to what direction do we want to go? Let's go to the South. So South, we're gonna go to Houston. They have one of the best coaches in all of college basketball, Kelvin Sampson against Longwood. Another funny name, but I'm gonna go with Houston. And now we got Nebraska, Texas A&M. This is a tough one because I don't really know who to go for here. Let me look down here at the stats and decide for myself. So Nebraska, better scoring and better defending team. They both have a similar record in the top 25. I think both these teams are in the Big. What? No, 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 no. They're in the SEC. They're in the Big Ten, so not in the same conference. But looking at stats here, I'm gonna go Nebraska. I'm gonna go Nebraska. Now, another interesting 5-12 matchup. These 5-12s are always very, very interesting because I don't know. Every time I look at them, I always feel so inclined to pick the 12 seed, and then I look at my bracket and I think, wait, I picked four 12 seeds to move on. I can't do that. But I think here you got James Madison, only lost 3 games all year. I think they're a really excellent shooting team, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I mean, 84 points per game. That's insane, even for a smaller conference. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with another upset here. I'm gonna go with James Madison. And now we got Duke versus Vermont. Duke, they've looked solid all year. Kyle Filipowski, great player. You know, purposely like tripped himself to try to get court storming like removed from college basketball was kind of weird, but still really good. Still really good. And I think I'm gonna go Duke here. They're obviously one of the powerhouses in college basketball, and I think you're gonna see them get the win here and move on to face James Madison in the second round. Now we move to Texas Tech, NC State. NC State is looking really solid. They got DJ Horn, I think, transferred out of ASU. He's looked really nice over there, and I don't know. I know he plays for like one of the rival schools of mine, but I think I'm gonna root for DJ Horn to get the win here against Texas Tech. Kentucky, Oakland. I don't really know anything about Oakland. I don't know too much about Kentucky this year. Oh, I do know about Rob Dillingham. I know Rob Dillingham. I know ball guys. I promise you. Um, couple of pretty rough losses here at the for Kentucky, but insane scoring, kind of bad defense, but good record against top 25 teams. I'm gonna go with Kentucky. I think John Calipari. I think he'll lock in for the first round against Oakland. And now we've got Florida versus Boise State or Colorado in the first four. Um, for the first four matchup, I think Colorado's going to take it. They've been sneaky good in the Pac-12, and I'm also going to go with Colorado just because I like honestly most of these picks are just a gut feeling, and I'm feeling Colorado. I feel it in my plums. I think they'll make it to the second round. And now we got Shaka Smart with Marquette and Western Kentucky. Got to go look at the stats here once again. And ooh, good offense here by good shooting from Western Kentucky. Brutal conference record there for Marquette. They played a lot of top 25 teams. I mean, the Big East is just excellent college basketball. But I think Marquette will get the win here. But now we move on to the second half of the first round here, and we're gonna go to the West. Are we gonna go to the West? Yeah, we'll do the West. North Carolina against Howard, or I think that's Wagner. I'm gonna go with North Carolina. Don't really need to say too much about that. North Carolina is still one of the powerhouses in all of college basketball. Um, definitely in contention for the national championship this year. And now we move to Mississippi State and Michigan State. I'm gonna go with Michigan State. They have Tom Izzo. They have Tom Izzo, one of the best college basketball coaches in the history of the sport. Mississippi State don't. That's really my only reasoning behind this. But yeah, I think Michigan State's gonna get the win. And now we move on to number 5, St. Mary's against 12, Grand Canyon University. Shout out to the Lopes, and I'm gonna have them get the win. I'm gonna have them get the win here against St. Mary's. I know St. Mary's. I think they did win their conference, but they haven't looked too impressive all year. And I think GCU, they've actually looked sneaky good this year. Um, and I think they could get a tournament win or two here. And I'm gonna have them getting at least one. Be able to see how many more they get. But yeah. Now we move to Alabama Charleston. This could be a sneaky fun 4-13 matchup for sure. And I think let me see here. Number 4 seeds have won 80% meetings. At least 113 seed has been interesting stuff. See, I like these little stats they give you here, and I can kind of look at like, you know, their per games at the bottom. Really, it helps you, not really, but I mean, it gives you more of like a visual. So like to people who don't watch a ton of college basketball like me, you kind of see for yourself kind of just the basics. But looking here, I think I'm just gonna go with Alabama. They got Nate Oates. He's a great college basketball coach, and I think he's gonna get him out of the first round here. Clemson, New Mexico. New Mexico does have Jalen House, Shadow Mountain, and ASU uh, former player for both of those programs. Um, you know what? I think I'm gonna take. Yeah, I mean, crazy good one against San Diego State, and then a close loss against them, and then another win. Yeah, give me New Mexico. Give me New Mexico in the upset. And now we got Baylor Colgate. Colgate always in the tournament, I feel like every single year. I think I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Baylor. I think Baylor is kind of one of those teams that always they've kind of been one of the top programs for a while. They won a national championship in 2022. So I think that just that experience for the coaching staff and maybe even some of the players will help them get out of the first round against Colgate. And now we move on to Dayton, Nevada. Nevada, kind of one of those lower seeded Mountain West teams that made it here. And I'm gonna go with Nevada. I think they're gonna upset Dayton. And I'm rocking with Nevada. I'm rocking with some of these Mountain West teams that made it. And yeah, there you go. And now we move on to Arizona Long Beach State. Finally, a team that I can actually kind of talk about a little bit because I do watch them. Um, so I am not confident in Arizona at all to win a national championship this season. They've had some great wins this year. Obviously, early in the season, they won against Duke. They won against Wisconsin. They had a really close game against Purdue. Um, their non-conference schedule was like brutal, and they came out of that. They came out of that relatively well, but um, they did have some pretty bad losses. Obviously, in the Pac-12 tournament, they should have breezed through that entire thing, but they lost to Oregon in the second round. And despite all that, I'm still going to take them here in the first round, but I don't know. I think U of A could be on fraud watch. I'm just praying to God they don't lose to a 15 seed again, because that would be extremely embarrassing. So I'm praying that doesn't happen. And now we move on to our final region here in the Midwest. Now we got Purdue, and Purdue, obviously, they have one of the best players in all of college basketball in Zach Edey, a great coach in Matt Painter. But they do struggle with these matchups. For whatever reason, they just cannot seem to get over the hump when it comes to getting out of the first round here. I mean, last year they lost to number 16 FDU. I think the year before that they lost to St. Peter's, who we're going to see here in the tournament coming up pretty soon. And yeah, a lot of really, really embarrassing tournament losses for Purdue. And I want to pick them to lose again, but it's just that's too crazy. Like when you say that out loud, it's too crazy of a statement, I feel, to actually put it on paper or on a screen in this case. But I think I'm gonna go with Purdue. And now we got Utah State, Texas Christian University. Don't know why I said their full name. I could have just said TCU, but Utah State got a solid team over here. And I'm gonna pick them to win. I'm gonna pick Utah State. TCU, they got a nice program, but I don't know. I see Utah State here. And now we got Gonzaga versus McNeese. McNeese have one of the most overqualified coaches. Their coach was he was at LSU, but I think he got fired due to recruiting violations. And Gonzaga, this has kind of been a more down year for them. Still have a great team, 25-7. Mark Few, one of the better coaches. They have some nice players. I know they have Ryan Nemhard over there. But I think this is one of those times where I'm going to go with five. Like, hold on. See what I was talking about earlier when I said 5-12 seeds? You always like end up picking all 4-12 seeds. Let me just see. So I've picked. Oh, actually, I'm going to pick San Diego State here. So if I keep it like this, I'm going 3-12 seeds to make it through, and I'm going to keep it honestly because I'm rocking with McNeese. Because why not? They're 30-3, dude. Like it doesn't matter what level of college basketball you play. I mean, you only see three losses. You're just so used to not losing that you keep winning, right? So that's my rationale for picking McNeese here. And now we move to Kansas and Samford. I know nothing about Samford, but I do know that Hunter Dickinson is at Kansas. I think he is healthy, right? Hmm. Kevin McCullough Jr., Hunter Dickinson missed the Big 12 tournament with injuries. So it looks like they're going to be back for the tournament, but might be a little rusty. Well, regardless, I'm going to go with Kansas. They have one of the best coaches in all college basketball. They have a great roster, like always. I think they'll get a pretty easy win here. And now we move to South Carolina, Oregon. And as an Arizona fan, obviously I know about Oregon getting pretty big wins here. They won the Pac-12 tournament, and I think that was really the only reason they actually made it in here. But let me go with the upset. Let me get Oregon. And now we got Creighton versus Akron. Um, two kind of mid-major schools. Creighton, one of the more notable ones, I would say. And I'm gonna rock with Creighton. I'm gonna go with Creighton. And then we got Texas versus either UVA or I think that's Colorado State. Um, damn, I kind of want to go with Colorado. If I don't know who's gonna win this first four matchup, but I kind of want to go with Colorado State. Um, but overall, I think I'm gonna go Texas. And now they're back, ladies and gentlemen. St. Peter's back in the NCAA tournament. And will they go on a Cinderella run like they did last season? I think I'm going to have to say, unfortunately, no. And I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think the Volunteers they're primed to win a game like this. I feel like this should be an easy game for them. But, I mean, hey, it is March Madness. It's called March Madness for a reason, so we very well could see St. Peter's get the win here. But yeah, those are the first round. Now we move to the second, where we're gonna go back up to the east here. We got UConn versus Northwestern. Interesting little matchup here, but I think I'm gonna go with Dan Hurley and the Huskies to make it to the Sweet 16. And next up, this should be an awesome matchup if it happens. Auburn versus San Diego State. And I'm gonna go with Auburn here. I think looking at their stats and kind of like reading about them a little bit, I think Auburn was a little bit low seeded, but hey, that's even better for them, right? Kind of fuels them a little bit more to just win these games that they think they're supposed to win. So there you go. And now we got man, I should have done my research and figured out how to pronounce this team's name because every time I do, I feel like I'm doing it wrong. But so we got Duquesne versus Illinois. Hmm. Illinois, they do have Terrence Shannon, who is one of the better players in college basketball. But do I sense a Cinderella run here? I'm not feeling it. I'm gonna go with Illinois. Move on to the Sweet 16 there. And then we got Drake, not the rapper by the way, versus Iowa State. The Cyclones. I don't know. I get a good feeling about the Cyclones. And I'm gonna keep rolling with them. And they're gonna move on to the Sweet 16 and play Illinois. And now in the South, we got Houston versus Nebraska. I'm gonna go Houston. I'm a big fan of Kelvin Sampson. I mean he's probably one of my favorite coaches to root for outside of Tommy Lloyd for Arizona and Sean Miller for Xavier. Um, but yeah, I think Houston's gonna be able to get the win here. I think they're one of those teams that's definitely on course to hopefully make that national championship game. And now we got James Madison versus Duke, a little David versus Goliath situation here. But I mean, you look at the stats, and I feel like these teams are pretty evenly matched. And man, it's March Madness, baby. Give me James Madison over Duke, JMU in the Sweet 16 against Houston. You love to see it. And now we got 11 North Carolina State versus Kentucky. Damn, I feel like North Carolina was kind of low seeded here. Hmm. But do I think they're going to win against blue blood Kentucky? I'm going to say no. I'm going to go with Kentucky. I know it's a boring pick, but I think Kentucky will get the win. And now we move to Marquette, who's going to play in my hypothetical situation Colorado State. And Give me Marquette. I'm a fan of Shaka Smart. I think he's done a really great job at Marquette this year, and I don't know why I'm looking at that. I should be looking at well, I guess I can't look at the preview anymore. But well, I can't look at it because there's no real team here yet. But I think Marquette will get to the Sweet 16. And now we move to the West, where we got North Carolina versus Michigan State. This is really, I think, a battle of like talent versus coaching. Not that Hubert Davis is a bad coach, but you're going against one of the greatest college basketball minds in the sport still. And despite all that, I'm still going to go with North Carolina State. I think they're going to be a little too much for Michigan State to handle. And now we got Grand Canyon University versus Bama. Hmm. Do I do it? Is the real question. Do I do it? Man, fuck it, dude. Give me Grand Canyon in the Sweet 16. And you're like, cool. Why do you think that? What is your reasoning behind that? It's the vibe I get. This is a pure vibes pick. I won't lie to you, but that's just how it is. So there you go. But yeah. So your Sweet 16 matchup could be North Carolina versus Grand Canyon University. And now we move to New Mexico versus Baylor. Hmm. Hmm. These are really interesting picks, I feel. I think all these games are gonna be really interesting. And I'm gonna go. Ooh, I kind of want to go with. I'm gonna go with New Mexico. Give me New Mexico. Also, I don't know if I've been saying New Mexico State, but if I have, I apologize because clearly this is just New Mexico. But yeah, I got New Mexico making the Sweet 16. Shout out Jalen House. And in our final matchup in the West, I've got Nevada and Arizona. And this is gonna be my bias showing 100%, but give me Arizona. Give me Arizona. I think they'll do fine against the Mountain West team in Nevada. I think this is when they kind of lock in, and I think you'll see Caleb Love and Kylan Boswell, kind of, focus up a little bit more and, kind of just get back on track to how Arizona looked at the beginning of the year when they were ranked number one in the country, because that was somehow this season, which is crazy. But now we move to the Midwest, and we got Purdue and Utah State. Hmm. My plums are telling me Utah State, man, and I'm gonna go Utah State. Something tells me that they're gonna get the win here. And now we move to yeah, no reasoning once again, just pure rationale, like pure like, oh, that's kind of the vibe I get right now. So, yeah. And then you go to McNeese and Kansas. Like you just statistically look at McNeese, you're like, this team looks so good, right? Because wow, I mean, the scoring, the defense. I know they're in a much smaller conference, but hmm. However, I don't want to have too many Cinderella teams here, so give me Kansas. They're gonna move on to the Elite Eight, or no, they're gonna move to the Sweet 16. We're still on that. My goodness. And Oregon Creighton. Hmm. Low key would not be surprised if Oregon won here, but I'm gonna go with Creighton. I think they're gonna shoot the lights out of Oregon. I think they're gonna just kind of steamroll their way to the Sweet 16. And now we got Texas versus Tennessee. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to take Tennessee like that. Whoops. The battle of very orange college basketball programs. Yeah, looking at it either way, I'm gonna take Tennessee. So that's your Sweet 16, and now we go again, and we start in the East. I'm gonna go with UConn over Auburn. Ooh, actually, am I gonna go with UConn over Auburn? Hmm. I'm gonna go Auburn actually over UConn. I think we're gonna see a new national champion. I think we're gonna see Auburn get bounced in the Sweet 16 here. Let me see if they have any like big losses. UConn lost to Kansas, lost to Creighton. I mean, that's really it. Wow. Um, but I think Auburn. I think Auburn might just be a little bit too much for them. So let me get Auburn there in the Elite Eight. And now we got Illinois, Iowa State. I'm gonna take Iowa State here. I'm rocking with the Cyclones. And there's your East Regional final. It's gonna be Auburn, Iowa State. That's because that's definitely what's gonna happen. I got the script, y'all. But yeah, we move to the South. Houston versus James Madison. This is where James Madison's Cinderella story ends, and I have Houston moving on to the Elite Eight. And now we got Kentucky and Marquette, and I'm going to go with. Let me get Kentucky. Let me get Kentucky. So we got the battle of extremely similar looking college basketball logos. One's just they just have different lettering and colors. It's the same thing. I actually just noticed that, but there you go. That's gonna be your Elite Eight matchup, your South Regional final. And next let's do the Midwest. Let's do the Midwest. So we got Utah State versus Kansas. Hmm. Give me Kansas. I think they're gonna be too. I think their size is going to overwhelm Utah State. Pause. And I think they'll get the win here. And I think they also have the edge in coaching as well. And they're going to be in the Elite Eight. Now you got Creighton versus Tennessee. Give me Creighton. I think you need a mid-major school in there. I think Creighton's going to be the team to do it. So that's going to be your Midwest Regional Final. Creighton and Kansas. And now for our final Sweet 16 matchups, we got North Carolina versus Grand Canyon. Hmm. Do I be rational or do I just root for chaos here and go with GCU? Yeah, I'm going GCU. Give me this Cinderella run right here. Inject this into my veins, and then give me the battle of the two Arizona teams in the Elite Eight. So then it's like who wins the entire state of Arizona. There you go. You got an Arizona team in the Final Four. Do I know who it is? Not yet, but I mean this is a win-win. Obviously, I'd be rooting for Arizona, but on paper, this would be a very fun matchup just for the vibes, to be honest with you. But yeah, and that's gonna be your Elite Eight. And honestly, let's just get started with this little in-state battle here we got going. Grand Canyon versus Arizona. I mean, God, give me Arizona. I think Arizona is too damn good to lose to GCU this late into the tournament. I feel like Arizona they got a lot to prove in this in this tournament, and I think making it to the Final Four would be a really good way to kind of remove all that self-doubt. So yeah, and then we move to the Midwest. Kansas versus Creighton. Give me give me Kansas. Give me Kansas. I like Kansas. I think they're a really fun team, and I think they're gonna get the win over Creighton here. I know Creighton's a better scoring team, but I don't know. I trust Kansas a little bit more. Just a little bit more though. Being a blue blood and all. And now we move to Auburn, Iowa State. Hmm. Auburn, Iowa State. Give me Auburn. I think their scoring is going to overwhelm the elite defense of Iowa State, and I feel like Iowa State's scoring isn't isn't going to be enough to keep them in this game. And I'm going to take Auburn in the Final Four here. And now we move to Houston, Kentucky. Once again, the battle of oddly similar logos. Let's get Houston into the Final Four there. So there you have it. The Final Four is set, ready to go. And there you have it. So now I gotta choose who's making it to the national championship in Glendale. Hmm. I'm looking at Auburn, Arizona first, by the way. I feel like they've gone this far. I feel like I've picked them to go this far, and we might as well just go all in and have Arizona make it to the national championship. Despite what I said earlier about how I'm not confident in this team at all, just the way this bracket fell has I mean, it looks like on paper all the matchups are favored in Arizona, so that's that's my reasoning for that. And then you got Houston versus Kansas. Hmm. I'm taking Houston. So your matchup in the 2024 National Championship is going to be Arizona versus Houston, a future matchup that we're going to get to see every year with Arizona moving to the Big 12. And I'm going to go with, and this is me putting all my bias aside. I'm looking at the stats here, and good lord, that defense is insane. Give me Houston. So there you have it. Houston going to be your national champions. As you can see, um, I don't care about the tiebreaker or the sweepstakes right now, but you got the visual there. My prediction for the brackets and for March Madness on your screen here. Just a little rundown. Here's what I have going on here, and here's what I have going on down here. If you need a visual, but in the end, I feel like the Final Four is going to be between Auburn, Arizona, and Houston and Kansas. And in the national championship, I have Houston going over Arizona. And yeah, in the comments, let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. Let me know who your national champion is. Let me know what do you think your possible Final Four matchup who's going to be. Who's going to be the Cinderella team? Let me know all that fun stuff in the comments below. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a like. And yeah, I appreciate y'all for watching and take care.